All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Beauty Queens Galore, the pageant resource. I am Taylor Martin with Beauty Queens Galore, and we are here with Mrs. United States of America's Mrs. 2023, Hannah Latourneau. Thank you, Hannah, for joining us. And would you mind just telling us a little bit about who you are outside of the crown?
Yes. So one great job in saying my last name. I know it's a mouthful. So my name's Hannah Letourneau. I reside in Hampton, Virginia. Very proud Air Force wife. My husband flies the F-22 Raptor at Langley Air Force Base. We have been here for a total of 3 years. I'm a regional manager for Maserati, so I oversee 13 dealers in 6 different states. So essentially, I'm the face of the brand for my dealers. So I oversee sales, marketing, incentives, finance, anything that's customer facing, and sometimes I'm a therapist for them. It just depends on the day. I'm getting my master's in marketing at Emerson University. And then my platform is Reach Out Remember, which focuses on the 1.5 million people that enter hospice every single year. I actually started my platform in honor of my great grandparents. So they were both under hospice, and I wanted to find a way to remember them and keep them active in my life, even though they're no longer here on earth. And I came up with Reach Out Remember. So that's something that I'm going to be championing and have been championing for the past 10 years of being involved with hospice and volunteering. And when I'm not volunteering or pageants or spending time with my husband, I have 3 little fur babies, Princess Leia and Chewie, and they're just the lights of my life. So if you also hear barking, that's them. So I apologize in advance.
Well, tell us, how did you get involved in pageantry? What are you in it for?
So I started competing in pageants at 13 years old. I was a theater kid growing up, and I kind of hit that really awkward. You're not a kid, you're not an adult, you are just this awkward teenager. So I couldn't get adult roles, I couldn't get kid roles. My grandma actually competed in Miss America and suggested that I look for the teen program because maybe they had talent, because I'm a singer. And I decided to try one. My very first pageant, I competed in Missouri, and I competed at Miss Lake at the Ozarks. I was competing for their teen program. I was first runner up, and I had the best time, and I absolutely loved it. So I kept trying. I ended up going to state that year, and I've been bit by the pageant bug ever since. I think this is my 14th year being involved in pageants, and it's just my happy place. I used to be the type of person that I'm very competitive, and I just wanted the crown and sash as a teen. That's all that I could see. And now as an adult, I've been able to really truly learn that it's about the memories and the relationships and the people that you come in contact with that lasts. The crowns and the sashes just go in a drawer at the end of the day, and they truly don't matter. It's a piece of fabric and a piece of plastic. And so that's what's kept me around, are those friendships and being able to bond with others and being able to also champion my platform. And that's what's kept me involved in pageantry.
Yes, and I think what you just mentioned about just going after it for the crown and sash is something that some people really do struggle with, and maybe they won't admit it. But how did you grow out of that? You said you were struggling with it as a teen, but you grew out of it and learned what the real purpose of it was for you.
Honestly, at the end of the day, it was losing and
Mhm.
realizing that it's not all what it's cracked up to be, because I remember I was competing for Miss Kansas America. I was 17 years old, so I was the youngest contestant on that stage, and I ended up only making top 10 that year. And I walked away, and I'm sitting there thinking, I didn't have a good time. I was absolutely miserable. I didn't enjoy myself. What am I doing on this stage? Because there has to be something more to competing than a sash and a crown. And yeah, it's great, it's sparkly, it's pretty, and it's an honor at the end of the day to be able to be selected as a local, state, or national queen. And I realized that if I'm not having fun, why am I doing this? And then I came back, I took a break. I came back about 2 years later, and I competed for Miss Kansas again. And I had the best time of my life because I just went in and had fun. And I learned this is what it's supposed to be. And I made such great friends that time that actually lasted. I ended up taking a break again. I went and started my career, and then I started competing at USOA. And I wanted to go in and I had that taste of what it was like to have fun. So it's like, you know what? I'm just going to go in. I'm the youngest married woman on this stage. They're not going to take me seriously anyway. I'm just going to go compete. And I ended up being first runner up, and I made my best friends at that pageant. And that's when I really hit home that it's not about this, it's not about the crown. That doesn't matter. I have boxes of crowns and sashes that I never even look at, and half of them are at my mom's. I don't even know where they are. But the things that have lasted are my friendships and people that I've been able to impact, the memories I've made, and the lives that I've changed with my platform or just volunteering in general. And that's what is actually the thing that matters the most. And when you can finally hit that point, that's when you're really gonna really enjoy pageantry. And the judges are also gonna see it too. I saw a shift in how I was also embraced by the judges. So highly recommend just go in and have a good time. It's a
Mhm.
lot better.
Yeah, and it's definitely a mindset change, is what it sounds like. It was for you. And tell, walk us through. You know, you went through so many years of pageants. What drew you to the USOA system, um, and why did you end up competing?
So I was looking for a system that really celebrated being a married woman. There's becoming a little bit more of married women pageants, but back in 2020, 2019, there wasn't as many married women systems. There was, of course, Mrs. America, there was USOA, Mrs. International. And I saw USOA, and what drew me in immediately was uplift, empower, and inspire, our national motto. But then I also started digging even more. I broke through the surface of, okay, well, here's the motto, here's the pretty gowns, and here's what it means to be a part of USOA. And I saw their national title holder, Danielle. She was their very first national Mrs. Queen. And she was, I want to say, like 22 or 23 years old. She was newly married. And she was who she was. She celebrated being a married woman, and it didn't stick to the normal mold of what I thought Mrs. Pageantry was, which was, someone that's older in life and has a couple children and has that white picket fence, and they're everything that you think of as a married woman. And I was in awe that they celebrated a younger woman. And that made me feel a little bit more comfortable in going. So that's what drew me in, because I didn't feel as scared to hit the stage as a first timer, as a married woman. And I went, and they ended up picking Shannon. She's absolutely stunning. I was her first runner up. Shannon is a police officer, and she was pregnant when she won. And so they're notorious for picking just unique and different title holders, not even in their Mrs. division, but all the way down to their teen, their Miss, their Ms. And I had fun. And that's what made me want to come back, is I had the best time at a pageant that I've ever had in my life. And every single time I've gone to USOA, I've had the best time. And it didn't matter if I walked away with a crown or not. I just enjoyed myself, and I made even better friendships. My best friend is from USOA, and that's something that even if I never got a crown and a sash, I have her. And that's a win in my book. So the friendships have just kept bringing me back. And this year I was lucky enough to win, which was a blessing. But there was so much more that just drew me to USOA.
And from what it sounds like, you kind of had maybe like a stereotypical mindset when it comes to what people think Mrs. Pageantry is. So, do you think that women in pageantry should dress their age, their division, or according to their own sense of style?
I think that it's important to break past that age barrier. I've been in systems that they have their age on your bio, and I don't think that that's something that a judge should even see, because a lot of times if you look at, for instance, when I competed in one system, I was 26 years old. I like to think that I'm a fairly accomplished woman for being 26. However, judges kept saying, "You are so young. You are so young. How are you this accomplished and you're 26? You have so much life left." And that immediately, I was taken back, because I've always been the youngest person in the room. I started college at 15, and that put me into the corporate world at 20. So I'm constantly having to battle the stereotypes that go along with, well, you're 21, you don't know anything, or, oh, you're 25, and what do you know? So I really think that we shouldn't be looking at a woman's age. You shouldn't be looking at a woman's height, a woman's weight. There's certain things that my mom told me when I was 3 that you never ask a woman, and that's what the judges should kind of steer away from, is that. So I really think that it should just be championed of who's going to be the best title holder, who's going to represent the organization. That is what the judges should be looking at, who's going to grow the system. And that is how the national queen, state queen, or local queen should be picked, not necessarily based on their age, their phase of life, how many kids they have, if they don't have kids, what career they have if they don't. that shouldn't even be talked about. It's about growing the system and who's going to be the best role model during their year.
Well, talk to us more about your platform that you mentioned when we first started our interview. What do you do with it? And if anybody wants to get involved, how can they do so?
So I started to Reach Out and Remember in honor of my great grandparents, like I mentioned, and it focuses on hospice patients. I started volunteering with hospice after my great grandmother passed away. And I lived in a multi generational home. So I grew up seeing my great grandparents every single day of my life. There was not a day that I didn't see them. And so I was very, very close with them. And once they passed, I kind of felt a void in my life of them just not being there anymore. And I wanted to give back the same way that my family was so blessed with hospice nurses and volunteers when my great grandparents were passing. And so I just started singing at a nursing home to hospice patients. And that's how I got my foot in the door. And then I got asked, hey, do you want to go sit with someone while they're passing? Hey, do you want to go sit with someone and just chat with them? And at first I was terrified because death is kind of scary. But I thought about, well, what did my great grandmother want when she was passing? She wanted someone to hold her hand and make her feel like she wasn't alone. And I can be selfless. And even if it makes me slightly uncomfortable, I'm going to go do this for Grammy. And I did it once. And the amount of love that I was able to give to that person and I also received back from them was life changing. And I learned over the years, the more that I got involved and I talk about it, people were so taken back when I said, yeah, I'm involved with hospice. I would get the responses of, I could never do that. Oh my gosh, that makes me so uncomfortable. How can you handle death? I don't understand. Like, I could never do that. So it's good that you do it. And I realized that there's a need to try to break this negative stigma that's tied to hospice of that's like a 5% piece. Yes, they are passing. That's why they're in hospice, but some people can get on hospice and get off of hospice. Some people are on hospice, like my great grandmother, for 2 years, and they're slowly declining in their life, but they're still a part of a family. They're still on earth and they're still aware of what's going on, and they need somebody. And so I started Reach Out Remember to help break that negative stigma and break down barriers and find ways to make people feel comfortable. So I do blanket drives just to get people talking about hospice. It's a way that they necessarily never even have to enter a nursing home, but they can give back. I have people write letters. I'll have people make videos. If you're comfortable with sharing your talents, finding a nursing home to go in and sing or entertain, play an instrument, even taking your dog in if they're well behaved and they can pass certain courses. There's so many ways that you can get involved. And that's what I'm trying to champion during my year. So I have a website called Reach Out and Remember, and just www.reachoutremember.com. You can go on there. It has my blanket drive information. It has how you can get involved, everything about my organization, and just trying to champion and really get people more involved with volunteering with our elders.
Yeah, that's an amazing and unique platform. I think that that only somebody that's gone through what you've gone through will be able to come up with, right? And being in a nursing home for elderly people can be kind of lonely sometimes. So, is that something that you see when you go into hospice? Is there family there, or are you only seeing people that really don't have much family left?
It is honestly heartbreaking. There are times that I walk out and I just want to cry because a lot of times these elders are forgotten. Yes, there are families that are like my family that they were with my great grandmother until she passed, but either some people don't necessarily have families at their end of life. Other families, maybe their children are working, trying to support them and keeping up with their care and they can't go. Maybe they just aren't involved in their families' lives, and that's perfectly fine. There's multiple different walks of life. They're all in a nursing home. And a lot of times they don't have families sitting there with them. And a lot of the patients that I get assigned to, I am their family. And I am the person that they get to see, or the volunteers, or the people that they get to see on a weekly or monthly basis, and that's it. And then they're hospice nurses. And that's the part that breaks my heart because we are where we are in the world because of them. They paved the way in our country because of them. Like that's how we are where we are right now. And the smallest thing that we can give back to them is just a hand to hold or asking how their day is and making them be seen and feel heard. I can't tell you how many times I've walked in and I've seen someone sitting in the hallway and I've just said hello and asked them, how's the weather going for you? How's your day going? What'd you eat today? Like just conversation starters. And the smile that they will get on their face, just feeling acknowledged, is something that it gives you so much more back than you could ever imagine as a volunteer. And that's something that I really wish that people could go in and see, because I think if people could see that they are forgotten or don't have families around most of the time, I think it would change people's thoughts about going and volunteering with hospice, because that is another misconception is they have families, their grandkids go and see them and their kids go and see them. And it's like, they really don't. And it doesn't matter what the walk of life a person is. And even if family does go and see them, it's not constantly, it's not maybe every single day because people are busy. And you can be that person that kind of helps offload and helps them with their loved ones when they can't go see them. So there's always a way that you can get involved and remember our elders.
Well, let's walk it back to nationals. Tell me what that week was like for you and what was the moment like when you were crowned?
So nationals was not exactly what I expected, because I had the worst case of allergies that I've ever had in my life. I showed up, I could not breathe, and I was already losing my voice. And then I'm highly allergic to cigarette smoke. So anytime that you're in Vegas, you're going to be around smoke. And it was very difficult for me. And I tried to hide it and just carry on and not have it bother me. But I was so nervous during interview that I would not be able to talk. And I'm not someone that normally ever gets emotional after interview. It's just, it's done and I move on. And I walked out. My mom was there. I saw my mom and I started to cry, because that was such a big worry for me. And I felt like, I'm like, Mom, I feel like I did so good. I feel like they saw who I am and I could talk. I didn't cough once. I could talk. I wasn't hoarse. And I was able to tell them why I should represent this organization. And so that was one of the highlights, was, being able to talk during interview. And then I was able to spend nationals with so many close friends. My husband ended up flying out, so he was able to be there. Being military, sometimes he's not able to attend my events. So it was really special that he was there the whole entire time. And then on finals night, I mean, it was it was a finals night that I've never experienced in my life before. I felt so calm and at peace. And normally I'm a ball of nerves and I feel like the butterflies are going every which way. And there was just such a sense of just peace that had washed over me of, I've done everything I can, I've prepped. And if it's not this year, that's okay. I'm 9 no's away from a yes. I'll keep coming back. And it's up to the judges. And if they don't like me now, well, maybe the judges next year will like me, and that's okay. That doesn't define who I am. And I think that's why I felt so calm. I had done what I could do, and it was out of my hands. And I was lucky enough to walk away as the national title holder. And, being the runner up 2 years in a row prior to this, and, runners up all the way back to teen and miss, finally having this crowning moment just meant so much more to me than I can even explain. And it was finally 13 years of being told no. And it was finally a yes. And it's just, I will never forget my crowning moment for the rest of my life. It'll be with me.
What did preparation look like for you?
So it's been a constant preparation for the last 3 years, basically. I haven't been not in pageant mode. So this past year, though, for Mrs. Virginia, I knew I wanted to compete. I would say actually about a year ago is when I signed up to take on the Mrs. Williamsburg title. And I started immediately with interview prep, walking prep. I was at the gym every single day. I was developing my platform because I wanted to leave a lasting impact this year and make a true difference. I wanted to do things that I could think outside of the box on. So I developed a coloring book, and I released a coloring book to talk to children about hospice and volunteering, and tried to expand on my children's book that I have and being able to get into schools and read my book. And so I really wanted to just be different this year and be creative and have fun. And that's exactly what I did every single day. I just loved being Mrs. Virginia. I loved every appearance that I was able to go to and be involved with. And it just made prepping for nationals a pleasure and so much fun. So and now, even I was talking to my trainer, and he's like, well, what's your goal? What are you wanting to accomplish? I'm like, well, I'm so used to prepping for for swimsuit. I've been doing that for the past 3 years. Well, I just want to keep prepping as if I'm prepping for another pageant because I want to look even better than I did when I won this year. And he's like, well, you got to have a goal. I'm like, well, that's what I need because I don't know what it's like not to prep because I'm a professional first runner up. So I'm used to prepping. So it's a little weird now not having that pageant of competition. But I'm still trying to prep as if I was going next year to compete for this title again. That way I can just keep a goal at the end of the tunnel for myself.
Yeah, and you mentioned being a professional first runner-up, and I have to say, I think we've interviewed multiple queens that would mark themselves as a professional first runner-up. It's a lot more common than people may think.
Yes.
So, what is kind of your advice to get over any of the emotions that might come with constantly getting first runner-up and not winning that dream title when you think you should?
It's a very hard position to be in. And I think when you watch from afar, you sit there and watch girls get so upset. And you will see comments online. It's just a title. Get over it. You should be happy. Be a graceful loser. All of these things. And we take out being a human being, which there's emotion. You worked hard for something, and it is perfectly fine to be upset. You should be upset because you worked hard for something. If you wanted it bad enough, you're going to be upset. It's a letdown. That's a human emotion. So take a moment and allow yourself to be upset. Allow all the emotions to hit you. It's okay to feel like it wasn't fair. It's okay to feel like you don't understand. It's okay to cry. On stage, I will say there's pictures being taken. In that moment, you do need to be a graceful loser in that sense because that's another girl's moment. Your moment will come. Don't take away from hers. But once you get off stage and you get with your family, it's okay to be in all of your emotions and embrace it, but don't stay in it.
Mm.
You need to pick yourself back up. You need to keep going because at the end of the day, it's five people's opinion to pick a crown and a sash for some girl to take home. And I had 38 girls on stage. I guess five judges thought that, yes, the redhead and the white feather dress will do this year. They could have looked at, one of the other girls on stage said, actually, no, I don't like the redhead. Let's go with the blonde or let's go with the brunette. It's like when you're with a friend group and you go, let's go to dinner. I guarantee you not every single person in that friend group is going to pick the same restaurant that night. And that's how it is with a pageant. Not every single judge is going to pick the same girl. It's somebody's opinion, and you shouldn't allow somebody's opinion to affect you. I'm a big believer in that you're 9 no's away from a yes. So if you don't win, pick yourself up, learn, take a look at what you did and try to learn something, make something positive come out of that loss and keep going. Because I'm going on 14 years now of being told no constantly. It hurts and it really does get to you. And I think when I finally hit the point, it was when I was a Mrs. I realized it's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. If I'm not having fun, I'll stop. But I'm having fun and I'm going to keep going. And if they don't pick me now, they'll pick me at some point because I'll keep coming back. And at some point, they'll get tired of me and say, yep, you can have the crown and sash. We just don't want to see you on stage next year. So just keep going. You're 9 no's away from a yes, and don't let five people's opinion one year keep you from going after your dreams.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I know they always say different judges, different day. So, you just got to keep going and hoping that the judges like you this year.
That's 100% what it is. And if I would have given up I was first runner up in my first pageant. If I would have stopped, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And I've gained so many things and life lessons from pageantry that if I would have stopped when I was told no, I probably wouldn't have the life that I have right now. And life is like a domino, like one domino can change, it's a domino effect. And losses are a part of life, not even just in pageantry. It's part of the world. And you can't let a loss in life ever knock you down and make you stop trying. Keep going after it because at some point it'll be your crowning moment, whether that's in a pageant or in life. And that moment is going to feel so great. And it's going to feel even better if you kept going and going after your dreams and trying to achieve it.
And as somebody that's been in pageantry for 14 years, would you say there's a right time to start competing in pageants?
Absolutely not. There is not the right time. The right time is anytime. at any age, at any stage of life, if you are interested in pageants, just dive in and try it, because you're always going to have your first pageant. You're going to have to take that first step. I love pageant land. I cannot explain how much I love pageantry. Is my happy place. Being a military spouse, when my husband is gone, he's deployed, he's TDY, I throw myself into pageant land. I have friends all over the world that I can connect with and talk to. I have appearances and volunteering that keep me busy. And it takes it away from me of focusing on myself and focuses it on other people. And that's why I love pageantry, is it really champions you uplifting other women or other people in other walks of life and making it about them. And I think we need more of that in the world that we live in today, is making it about other people and making other people happy and feeling seen. And that's why I love pageantry. Yes, you have your moments on stage in a swimsuit and a gown and you look beautiful, but that's one day out of 365. There's plenty of other days that you're having to give back and make it about other people and focusing on others besides yourself. And that's truly what makes pageantry so much fun. And I cannot express enough. If you are wanting to compete in a pageant, just do it. Rip the band-aid off and try it, because you will not regret it. You will learn so much: interview skills, confidence, being able to have your public speaking abilities. I mean, I am in a Forbes 100 company for Maserati. I would not be in the job that I am today without the interview skills, public speaking skills, and confidence that I gained from pageantry. And those life skills that I got from pageantry, I apply day to day in my job. And it is something that if I didn't keep going when I was 13 and was the first runner up, I wouldn't have these skills. I probably wouldn't be in the job that I'm in. So I say go for it.
Yeah, and as we're talking about just going for it and that there's really never a right time to start, it is important to think about the fact that people have, I guess, their things that are stopping them either mentally or physically from competing in pageants. So, do you have any advice for women who may feel uncomfortable in their body or struggling with self confidence, and that's the reason why they're just scared to start?
It's easier said than done, but you just got to get out of your own head. You would not believe how many people have insecurities of their own. You look at a pageant girl, and a lot of times people look at national queens and think, wow, if I could just have the confidence that they do. I guarantee if you talk to one of the national queens, state queens, local queens, we all have our own insecurities. We have things that we second guess ourselves on. We have parts of our body that we're not happy with. And you should not allow an insecurity to hold you back from going after something that you want to do. Because if you go after your goals, you go after your dreams, maybe that actually ends up changing your mindset about those insecurities that you have. For instance, if you're insecure about your body, allow a pageant to push yourself of, okay, well, I'm insecure. For me, in all honesty, I'm insecure sometimes about my arms. It makes me want to go work out in the gym more so that I'm my best physical health and my best physical well-being when I'm on stage. And then when I see myself in a swimsuit, I think, wow, I feel so confident that I was able to get past my own insecurities. And I know a lot of people will think that's dumb. People might look at me and say, no, there's that you shouldn't have that insecurity. I have my own insecurities, whether it's outward or inward, and I've had to work on them all of my life. And I mean, with pageantry being first professional first runner up, the amount of times I've second guessed myself and thought, oh, they didn't pick you the last 13 years. What makes you think they're going to pick you again? You're going to get the first runner up spot again. That's what you're good at. Those little voices in your head will come at you when you feel at your lowest. Ignore them, shove them aside, and keep going. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to accomplish your dreams and the things that you want to go after if you constantly listen to the negative voices in your head. At some point, you just got to take a step forward and go after the things that you really want in life. And I promise you, it'll, like I've said 100 times probably already on this, it'll be 100% worth it. I can promise you that.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember what you mentioned, that even national title holders, the girl that won last year has had the same insecurities that you're probably having and has gone through the same things that you've gone through. The judges just happen to like her that year. So you got to think of those things as well when you're, in your own head. But getting out of your head is really just great advice. I know it's easier said than done, but yeah, great advice. As a pageant resource such as ourselves, what would you like to see more of coming from us and from the pageant community?
You said I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
As a pageant resource such as ourselves, what is something you'd like to see more of coming from us and the pageant community?
just championing other women. That's something that the world just needs, is uplifting and positivity. And you see so many nasty comments online. You see so many things, like I grew up in the era of the void boards, and I was ripped apart. I had things on there that have stuck with me, and I saw them as a 14-year-old, and I'm 28, and I still think about them. An adult said it about a minor. Words hurt. So please make sure that your words that you put out into the world are kind and loving and supportive, because the world is, a scary place sometimes. And the world a lot of times wants to see people fail, and they don't want to see you be successful. And as women and as a resource, we need to be uplifting each other and ensuring that we're supporting one another and encouraging others to go after their goals, their dreams, and their ambitions. And that's what's so important to continue to do, is just, remember that words leave a lasting impact on people. So make sure wherever you're putting them, whatever you're saying, that they're positive and uplifting and kind to others. Or you can always, take on Thumper's rule. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Highly recommend, especially when it's online. But just continuing, I love seeing that you support other women and you're constantly championing title holders, and you're showing unique and diverse women all across the board. Because I think when you can see someone that looks like you in a system, it makes you want to go do it, because you think there's a home for me here. That's what I'm wanting to do during my year, is just show how unique and diverse different title holders can be. And you know what? If there isn't a unique and diverse title holder that looks like you, that means that you should join, so that someone like you can see that and take the initiative and then go try it themselves. So that's what I love that you guys do that, to continue doing that. And any other pageant page or anybody that supports pageants, take on that message and just spread it all around.
Yes, I agree, especially in our like just current state of the world and of pageants
Hmm.
and everything. It's just super important that we support each other, because we'll always have keyboard warriors and people that have just pageant fans that have their opinions.
Yep.
So it's important that we it's important that we just, as queens, champion each other, just so we know that we're not alone. Um, so, what is something that you want to be remembered for, either at the end of your reign or just in general?
I want to be remembered as someone that made her reign about everyone else but herself. I want to leave that lasting impact, that it's not about me, it's about the elders that I can go and reach and touch, and their families, and the children that I'm able to talk to, and the women that I'm able to come in contact with and lift them up and show them how special and beautiful they are and how powerful they are, and to use their voice that God gave them. And that's what I want to be able to show during my year, is that this crown and sash was truly used as that megaphone, that I was able to do just that. I told my husband the other day, I'm getting really sad, because now I'm down to 11 months and not a year. And I feel like I don't have enough time. In my mind, I want to change the world. And that's what I really want to do during my year, is leave a lasting impact that is positive and made people feel seen and heard. And that's my big goal this year, that I want to continue doing so with my 11 months left. Like,
I know you just won, so it kind of feels like you want the world to stop for a second, like
oh
right
my
after you
gosh, stop time.
win. Yeah, but I mean, 11 months is still a lot of time to get done, what you want to get done and leave that lasting impact on the world that you want to, and then also open up a new world of opportunities for the woman that is to come after you for your
Yes.
title. So we're gonna play a really quick and fun game of this or that. I'll give you two options. You just tell me which one, and we'll just keep going.
Okay.
Swimsuit or evening gown?
Evening gown.
Slit or no slit in your dress?
Slit.
Sleeves or no sleeves?
No sleeves.
Dress or jumpsuit?
Jumpsuit.
One or two-piece swimsuit?
Two-piece.
Would you rather do your first pageant with a coach or without a coach?
With a coach.
Jacket or hoodie?
Ooh. Jacket. I love a blazer.
Interview or on-stage question?
Interview.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh, night owl for sure.
Practice or wing it?
Practice.
On time or fashionably late?
Oh, on time. 5 minutes early.
Sash or crown?
Crown.
Butt glue or double-sided tape?
Butt glue.
Tablet or smartphone?
Smartphone.
And big hair or straight hair?
Ooh, big hair. The bigger the hair.
They said the bigger the hair, the closer to, is it closer to heaven or closer to God? I don't know.
Closer to God. The bigger the hair, the closer to God.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much for joining us today and just letting us know a little bit about who you are, what you plan to do with your title, and just your journey in pageantry. Do you mind sharing with us how we can follow you, how we can continue to watch your reign and just support you?
Yes. So my social media pages are going to be United States of America's Misses. I'm very active on all of my socials. So United States of America's Misses also for Facebook, but Instagram, I post every single day basically. So you can always keep up on what I'm doing appearance wise. I love making reels, behind the scene videos of all of my appearances or events that I go to. My personal page is just Mrs. Hannah and those are all the places that you can at least keep up with my socials. And then my platform website is www.reachoutandremember.com.
Yes, well, thank you again for joining us today. We wish you the best of luck in your reign and with your platform. And we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You too. Thank you for having me.
Well, everyone, thank you again for joining us. I am Taylor Martin with the Beauty Queens Galore Pageant Resource. We are here weekly, and we have the pleasure of interviewing Hannah Tourneau, who is the reigning title holder for United States of America's Mrs. And if you missed that interview, it'll be up in a couple hours. And like I said, we're here weekly, and we'll see you next time.